Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, the Joe is back.
I'm back.
That's right.
Yeah, and we got
It's nice
all
to see
this
you.
we got all this chat competition.
Yeah, this is new. This wasn't here last week.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
By the way, I
I
looked.
haven't been on
When you
YouTube in like
left,
a while, so I don't know.
fair. When you left, you were tied for first place with me. But then, so apparently your two-letter words did work.
Oh, they
But
did. Well, I still only have
yeah,
75 XP. Like,
I have 75 as well, and I typed a couple times
and
since.
so
So
does so okay. So keep
somehow,
showing support to get that top spot. Get that top spot, guys.
dang, I
Fill
get the
up
top
fill
spot,
up the
guys.
chat.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mianglios, thank you, and thank you for filling in while I was gone. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you, man. So welcome to Don't Worry Wednesdays, show we do on Wednesdays. And yeah, that's it. Legal
Yeah.
disclaimer, done.
Don't sue us, please.
Don't sue us. Yes, I'm back, Kishan. And yeah, it's gonna be a weird. It's summertime, so like I have my kids every other week, and so last week I had my kids, and then 2 weeks prior I had my kids too. But then the week in between, on Wednesday, was my kids' last baseball game of the season.
Mm.
So, uh, you you don't want to go blind from my forehead reflection. Oh,
Wow. Sorry about that. It's
I
it's
have a
mine, not
really,
yours, Joe.
I have a really big forehead.
It's definitely mine. Look,
It's like my forehead goes
see how
all the way to the back of my neck.
your forehead goes to the back of your neck.
Yeah, look at it. It just goes all the
Yeah.
way back.
Hmm. Oh,
Yep.
that's amazing.
So no, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. We are not professional therapists. We're not professional counselors, but we do our best to if you've got something that you're going through, we'd love to talk about it, and we'll do our
Hmm.
best to just be your friend and to walk alongside you and whatever it is you're going through. So if you have something you want us to talk about, you can go to don'tworrywednesday.com and click the submit a topic button. You can also just put it right here in the chat. And you'll get XP for being in the chat apparently, which
Apparently,
is
yeah.
cool.
Good deal.
Uh, all right, shoot Static a DM real quick. Um,
All right, yeah,
do it,
do it. I dare
do it.
you.
I dare you. I
Do it.
dare you. I double dog
Do
dare
it.
you.
Oh, double dog. Wow. Oh no,
Yeah,
now you
she
can't
went
turn down double dog.
straight to the double dog dare.
Oh dang. What is that?
I don't know.
I've never understood. I
It was
remember
in it
the
was in
first.
it was
It
in some
was.
movie.
It was a Christmas Carol. Is that the name of the
Yes,
movie?
no, A Christmas Story.
Christmas Story. There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. Yep, that's what it was in.
I am awaiting your DM there, Kishan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I remember the first time I heard Double Dog Dare, and I was like, "How is that even? What do you? Why did you? Those were really weird words just said in your mouth."
like, why, guys? Why?
Yeah.
All right, it has
Oh,
been sent, so now you can check.
Kishan, is this supposed to be a topic for us? This is a very lengthy piece of text, and I don't know if it's meant to be a topic because at the moment I don't have time to read it unless it is a topic. It is indeed. Okay.
Indeed, it is a
And
topic.
I'm going to send this to Joe so that Joe can um,
Read
participate
it.
in Don't Worry Wednesday.
Yeah.
Is it?
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh,
Um,
that's right. Kishin, it always breaks on you for some reason when you try.
yeah.
I remember that.
Sorry, buddy. One of these days, there's gonna be somebody at BSS doing something. We're too busy working on
Yeah.
all kinds of other stuff. It's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
but yo, Saule, it's good to see you, buddy. Um, yeah. So wow. So anyway, how are you guys doing?
Oh,
How you guys doing in the chat? You guys
that's
doing good?
amazing. I can't send the message because I don't have Discord Nitro because your message was too long. But I'm gonna send it to Joe in pieces.
Oh, okay.
That's too long too? Wow. Okay, hold on. Okay,
Yeah, you can. Oh, you don't
there we
have
go.
headphones. You're just watching. Hi.
Hi. Oh, it's gonna be probably really awkward to wear them, but here you go. I got it.
Yes, long messages are fun. Did you get all the whole thing?
Uh-huh, yes I did.
All right.
Um, and if you want, you can play the audio just really quietly. I'm sure it won't pick it up over here. These are pencil mics, so you'll probably be all right. You're welcome.
All right. So we have a few topics. And
Hmm.
Saúl's is one of them. So,
Welcome back, Saturday.
how long are you, Saúl and Kishan? Are you guys gonna be here for the whole show? Could we do both your topics today?
That'd be really great.
Yeah. Uh, what did you miss aside from the chat points? War you missed the intro,
The disclaimer,
the
um,
disclaimer, the
which,
legal stuff. Da 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 da.
yeah,
Okay.
that doesn't mean you get to sue us.
All right. So
Um,
so how about this? So if you're gonna be here till 10, how about we do Kishan's first? Is that okay?
okay, cool. Yeah, glad to hear that, Sally.
Awesome, awesome sauce. So I think we got time for
Hmm.
both of these.
Okay,
Um,
both of them want to be
I'm
around. Okay,
sure we
cool.
do. So you can't sue us.
Ah,
Hey Jeff, how's it going, buddy? Get that chat XP, man.
that's right. You did
Get
post it.
XP.
That's funny. Jeff, how's it going? Be in and out editing videos? Yeah, that's life.
Right on, man. I've been in and out building cabinets and installing them. We just finished one today. We finished a kitchen install today. Got our
Yeah.
final payment, all that stuff. That was kind of cool.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Hey,
It's always good when they pay
congratulations.
you.
Is this the first one that is from someone who you don't personally know?
Yes, and it was our first full kitchen since we opened as well. Like we've done
Wow.
we've done a handful of other jobs that were just like little, parts and whatever. Um but this one was the first like full kitchen. We worked on your place for
Nice.
a long time.
Oh, I
Working on
know.
that trim. That was crazy. Um
Hmm.
and yeah, so it's pretty busy.
That goes
So
into it.
so right now, so it's crazy because like that was one of three jobs that we're in the middle of right now that we just finished
Mhm.
today. And so
Wow.
now we have two that we're in the middle of, and then once we get those done, we've got two more lined up, and
Really?
yeah, so
Wow.
it's pretty wild. Um,
That's actually that's pretty good. Like legitimately. It's pretty
yeah,
good.
no, it's cool. It'll keep us busy for a while. Um, but I don't want to be as busy as I have been, for crying out loud. You know what it's like to work a 19-hour day and then sleep for 3 hours and then work a 12-hour day right after that.
Yes.
It stinks.
It's not fun. It's awful.
it's
Yeah, it does.
I'm so tired. Like what?
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, yeah. So it's gonna be a really
Yeah.
interesting Don't Worry Wednesday because I'm exhausted and I haven't been here in three
Mm.
weeks, and Ryan's gonna have to just put up with me. So,
Well, no, I love being here with you, and I'm really happy you're back. I missed you, and it's really great to see you. So,
thanks, man. It's great to
I'm
be back.
excited.
It's great to hang out with you again. I can't wait to hang out with you in person.
I know that's coming soon.
Yep, that's gonna be great. Um,
Coming to a country near you. A country.
Jeff, you
Wow.
don't have to hold off,
Yeah.
man. Don't hold off. It's okay. We'll just
Yeah,
put
hold
him.
on.
We'll just put him in line. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. So if you find work for us, then yeah, don't hold off that. We'll talk to him. We'll get him going and whatnot, and we'll figure out the time frame. But yeah, it's interesting when you run businesses, and everything changes. It's so much different
Hmm.
than being employed. There's a lot of different things to think about, a lot of different things to manage and stuff like that. But anyway, so that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about you guys and the stuff going on in your lives. And so we're gonna start with Kishan's here. Um, yeah, Kishan, I hear you. Been pulling 16-hour back-to-backs at work last week. You love the pay, but man, right, you get to a
Mm.
point where you're just like, I just want to sleep. Can I just sleep, please?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I just want to like lay down and not have an alarm wake me up in a few hours. Like, I want to be able to sleep for like a normal duration of time.
Yeah.
And then you cram yourself full of stimulants like caffeine and stuff, and then so
Yep.
then you get home and you're exhausted. Like your body's just like so tired, but your brain can't
Mm.
stop, and you're just like, and so you just lay there totally exhausted and hurting, and you're wide awake.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
It's crazy.
It's the worst.
It's so
I've been there
crazy.
so many times.
Wait, brownies.
With just yeah,
Saule,
brownies.
have you tasted neon sized brownies?
I highly doubt it, but maybe
Dude, neon size makes the best brownies ever, dude.
she makes really
Ever.
good brownies.
Ever.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're so good.
Yeah.
Like was it I think it
She makes
was
them when
like I gave you guys some money for your wedding, but you guys gave me like a big huge pan full of brownies for your wedding. And I was like
I believe that.
I was like,
Sounds right.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm so there. They're so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, well, it's kind of funny because we discovered those brownies on accident. Well, kind of not accident, but we discovered those brownies because I am allergic to chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
We figured, like, what if we use cocoa powder instead of like chocolate because it's not processed and they don't go through the same stuff, and we'll
Right.
just see how it goes. And then I was completely fine. I could eat
Oh.
that, and I was like, "Wow, hey, I can eat cocoa powder made stuff," and the brownies turned out really amazing.
I
So,
mean, you could eat cocoa powder just
staple
by
recipe.
itself.
Yeah, I
It's
could.
kind of difficult though. Like if you just spoon cocoa powder into your mouth,
Have you done it? Now you're making me want to.
maybe
Do I get to be the first one in this
you end up
relationship to
you
try this?
usually no, I've done it. You
Oh,
end
okay.
up it's I mean it's cocoa powder is not sweetened, right? And so
No,
it's the raw chocolate,
yeah.
the bitter, and it's good. I like it,
Hmm.
I like bitter
I like it
things.
too. Yeah.
But man, when it's that fine of powder, you just end up with a brown cloud around your head
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
because
I
you put it
imagine.
in and then just like you can't help but just like
You
spew
can't
it
help but
out.
like cough. Yeah, that's exactly what I was imagining.
It's just it's everywhere. It's
I'm gonna
great.
have to. I'm gonna have to collect saliva in my mouth for a few minutes before I
Yes,
start
do that.
shoveling it in.
Do that or spoonful of water
Hmm.
before get a mouthful
Yeah,
of water.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do enjoy Baker's chocolate, just straight 100% chocolate. I know a
Mhm.
lot of people don't care for that, but I like it.
The old cinnamon bowl challenge. What's the old
Oh
cinnamon bowl
no,
challenge? Is that
no, that's what I was thinking of too, Kenshin. Apparently, it's horrible. People had this. They would take a full spoon of cinnamon and
uh-huh.
put it in their mouth as a challenge, and apparently, really unfortunately, a couple people died from the challenge. Mostly kids.
From inhaling it or
Yeah,
uh-huh.
they basically inhaled it, and I don't know, something happened, and they did not get through it. As horrible
Wow.
as that is. And so then they were like, everybody stop doing this
Stop the
challenge. This is
cinnamon bowl
not cool.
challenge. Right.
Yeah. Is that the challenge you were speaking of, Kishan? That's the one I was thinking of now. Yeah. Yeah. Like, do not
Crazy.
put a giant spoonful of powder in your mouth. I think it had to be like a whole tablespoon or something.
Yeah.
Crazy. Make brownies for everyone. Yay!
Please do. I
Yeah.
will I will eat them for everyone.
Explosion hazard. That is true, Salve. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing how powder does that.
Yeah, right? Stupid challenges stop being viral. That's good. Like hopefully,
Mm.
you know what? We are all human though. They'll come up with some other stupid challenge.
Yeah,
I
eventually it'll come
promise.
back
I
around.
promise there'll be some kind of stupid challenge again. It's like
Mm. I'm glad we don't see him very much
go
anymore,
run
but
into a
yeah, for
wall. How
sure.
many times can you run into a wall?
Yeah, that'll
Full
be the
tilt.
challenge next. Hmm. Raise money for cancer. People who are getting hurt out there, go hurt yourself
Right.
for it. Okay.
Silly.
What? That is silly.
Silly, silly. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. You did a grain explosion sim in school. It was awesome but terrifying. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got it.
that's amazing you got to do one. I didn't know. I've never done one. That's amazing.
That's cool.
You gotta be careful.
Yep. Yep. Don't explode yourself.
Mm.
But all right. So, do you want to do this topic from Kish? Oh, homeschool. Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
Um. All
Yeah,
right.
great.
Let's do this.
Oh, homeschool.
Let's do this
Nice.
topic. This is called keeping up with old friends, and I will read it out loud, and then I'll we'll put some kind of summary in the whatever in the thing that thing. Yes. So yeah, let's do this. I would put the topic up on the screen, but I have to reconfigure a whole bunch of stuff, so I'm not going to do it right now. I'll just read it and then we'll talk about it. Does that sound okay?
Sounds perfect.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
That sounds perfect.
All right. So this is from Kishin and it's called Keeping Up with Old Friends. And it says this. Growing up, I had two close friends all the way up until high school. I knew others, but my friends from church were and still are some of my oldest friends. And we relate in a way only three guys who grew up in a tiny community with super specific circumstances and beliefs can. Our parents raised us similarly, our struggles adapting to the real world have been similar, and all three of us have relied on each other from time to time as just someone to talk to when we needed it. We've been each other's wingmen, even groomsmen, all for all our
Mm.
lives. That's why I'm especially sad that one of these friends has kind of drifted away over the past few years. I always had a harder time relating to him, and he can be very closed off. He was the first of us to break out into the world, but in a very unique way as he became pretty popular as a pro Smash player. He mostly hung
Mm.
out with that community, which I have toes in, and our other friend knows nothing about. Some years ago, his cousin was in a particularly horrible incident and passed away. I
Mm.
know it's affected him deeply, but he simply doesn't communicate when I've tried to be around for him. He eventually burned out, and these days he just works retail. It's not like we have a bad relationship. He's just notoriously bad at responding, and, well, it's kind of getting to me. Every time I have a break, I make a point to go hang out with him, but he's usually tired after work, and it's just kind of a half-assed visit, it feels like. To top that off, he started doing weed pretty regularly. I don't personally have an issue with it. I just think it's something you can turn into a crutch that really inhibits your ability to move on in life, and I really see that in him, hence why I don't do it. I even try to avoid relying on ibuprofen or caffeine most of the time. He's someone I care deeply for, but in the life I've built for myself, I've made a point to surround myself with people who are moving forward and actually doing things with their lives, and I'm quickly coming to a crossroads as I approach graduation. I want to
Mm.
maintain a relationship, but post grad, I'm almost certainly leaving this state and won't see him for years. I just feel like even if I persevere like this for another year, it'll be for nothing. I've tried to draw him out so many times, and it's like trying to have a conversation with Eeyore. Our other friend, our other friend, I'm confident I have a solid relationship with, and I'm sure I won't entirely lose either one, but I just have this feeling in the back of my head that if I don't do something before I move on in my life, I'm never going to see him again.
Mm.
And that's from Kishin. Kishin, thank you so much for the topic. Hey, Moonlit. It's good to see you.
Moonlit,
Um,
hey.
welcome. So Kishan, I, this is always hard, man, because people move on in their lives and we move in different directions, and the people that were our friends for a really long time, sometimes then we drift apart. I mean, I don't know.
Mhm.
I had really close friends. Um, I I had really close friends all throughout school. I didn't have very many, but I had a really close knit group of friends, right? And none of us dislike each other anymore, but we also don't talk regularly. I'll see my best friend from high school, who then I went on to be college roommates with, and we rented a house together and did all that, and really really good friends. I see him about twice a year now.
Mm.
Once in the summer, once in the winter, usually. Because he's now a PhD professor
Mm.
at a college or university, and so he's got all that school stuff going on, and now and I'm notorious for starting businesses and being really really busy doing that. So, but we still think fondly of each other. We don't hate each other, and we still get together once in a while. And sometimes that is just the way things go. But you know, I would just I think probably the biggest thing I would do in this case is um you know, you don't need to try extra hard. You've tried to draw them out and it's been of no avail, and I know that can be really really frustrating, and I would say, whatever you do, just don't burn the bridge. And people have a way of weaving their way in and out of our lives. They just do. Friendships change, things change, all kinds of stuff. You hold on to some people. Like Ryan and I have been friends for a long time,
Mhm. Longer
almost
than I've been alive.
almost 20
No.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and we're still close friends. I feel like we're close friends, even though we don't talk as much as we used to. Like
Sure.
still, and but I see your brother every day,
Oh
almost.
yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
So, but that's, we work and we have stuff to do and we have responsibilities, and then maybe we get married, and then maybe we have kids, and then maybe other, and your life moves, and it's not static. It's dynamic. And
Mm.
that's okay. And while yeah,
Can only be one static.
it kind of yeah.
Static X. That's not me. I'm sorry.
Yes, my bad.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
So yeah, I wouldn't sweat too much about it, but yeah, I understand. It can be painful, and when especially when you start thinking about how close you were to somebody and then how it's not there anymore, and that can hurt, and I don't know, but it's really interesting how as we move forward, if you can focus. I think you've got a good head on your shoulders, Kishan, and I think if you can focus on what it is that you're trying to do with your life, with career and a mission and all that, I think you know keep yourself busy with that, and this will be a lot easier. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn this over to Ryan because Ryan's been through this too. I'm sure.
Hmm.
I think we all have, and it's okay. It's
Yeah.
just a normal part of life, and yeah, even though it might hurt, when a tie that we have loosens a bit and starts to drift off, it doesn't mean it's broken. And there, as long as you don't burn the bridge, it's still open. So, hey, hero. Yep, I'm here. Welcome,
Hmm.
welcome, and thanks for dabbing in the chat. We need more dabs. It's
That's right.
it's in YouTube calls that an elbow cough, but man, that's a dab, dude.
It's clearly a dab.
That is a dab.
Hmm.
So makes me want to play some Fortnite.
Nice. That's funny.
Yeah.
Fun.
So anyway, all right, I'm gonna turn it over to Ryan. Ryan, the topic is yours, and yeah, say some good stuff. I'm
I'll give my
watching.
best.
I'm watching you.
Oh, dang. Okay, well, the pressure's on.
All right.
um, well, Kishan, I think, this is it's a good topic. It really comes from a place deep in your heart, and I think that it's a place that a lot of us have uh, been before. But, all of us are also different. Not every, it's almost like every person is their own human being, right? There's no copy. Even if you copy someone, the experience is completely unique, and the um, the identity of the person and their inherent design is just different. Um, and different lives will be lived. And there's also, it's almost like a relationship is like another person, because a relationship can be so dynamic with two different people and so different with these two people than it is another set of people. Um, and it can grow and change and improve. It can go through struggles which actually make it stronger and better. Things like that, just like humans. So it's almost like this, the relationships you have with people are beautifully intricate and real. And the weird thing about it is, like, it's not real in a physical sense. It's not something tangible. It's not something you can do science on. It's like, you can't like take part of it and apart and do chemistry. It's not very easy to do math. It's its own like sub realm of like reality. And it's like relationships are a whole nother person almost, interwoven into the structure. And it's something you have to maintain. It's something you have to try hard at. And it seems you've been trying really hard. And I think that's really shows your heart and and the importance of the relationship, the importance of that person to you. And I think that's amazing. You care a lot about them, and you are noticing habits that they're getting into that you want to help them on. You want to, more than necessarily say don't do weed, you just saying I don't want you going in a direction that this could cause.
Mm.
And I think that's the right attitude to have. I think that it's important to um, stick up for your friends even when your friends are the ones committing the atrocities against themselves. Not that it's an atrocity, but you get what I'm saying, like going down a bad road.
Mm-hmm.
um, so I think it's really great that you're here, and really great you want to make sure that the relationship is okay and it survives. I understand that. I have several. Actually, every friend I had in high school, I talked to like once or twice a year, for like 3 minutes. And well, not really, not all of them. There's some of them I haven't talked to in years, though. Really. So I think most of them I haven't talked to in years, and a couple of them I have talked to every once in a great while. Anyhow, we never had a falling out. We all just kind of got into different stuff at college, and in college, some of us stuck together, and then after college, none of us really did too much.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, so kind of as Job has been saying, and other people have been saying, it's very natural.
Mm-hmm.
It's very natural for this to happen, and what's happening is completely within the realms of normal. Does that mean it's great? Potentially. Let me tell you why. So in life, you don't want to be stagnant. You do want to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And moving forward will mean that you're eventually you're getting new friends, new acquaintances, new hobbies, new interests, etc. And your lifestyle will change, and the goodness in you will increase. Let's hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of us, we decrease, but then we come around and increase again, right? That's actually everybody. But it's good to keep moving forward, right? And this is true. We are constantly building on our foundations, and every once in a while, a foundation that's called a mental breakdown, and we rebuild it and build on that instead.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great to continue moving forward. So we know that's good. And also, um, don't think that what you've already done and what you've been continuing to do throughout the years has been pointless. And I know you don't think it's pointless probably, but you speak of it as if you're not getting anywhere with it. But I want to let you know that, I remember there was a song, and I've spoken about it many times. It's called "The Summons," and it's a Christian or Catholic hymn, and it's one of my favorite songs of all time. The song "The Summons," I mean, I encourage you to listen to it if you ever care to, but it's a love song. It doesn't really seem like one at first, but if you listen and read the words, it's like, oh, yeah, this is love in a really well-defined way, and an interesting one. And one of the core principles seems to be that when we act out of love, in a way, what we do for others lives on in them, and what they do for us lives on in us. And in a way, we live through each other. Someone's past life enters into my present life when they meet me, because everything that they are is what they give me when I meet them in person, right? So someone I'm talking to, they have a wealth of a past to draw on to interact with me with. And when they do that, they instill something into me. And that can be a little nugget, a little seed that grows. And that's a beautiful thing. But their past is so full of all of these other encounters they've had with other people and so many other seeds that have grown in them. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about the world and the relationships that we have with each other. There's so much good to be had. It's really a shame that there's evil out there, and there's people who are going to ruin relationships on purpose, and so on and so forth, because my gosh, it's so beautiful when we can just be good and want the good for others, right? And live that experience, how much we can grow and how much we can share and how much we can love and how much that love flourishes and changes us.
Mhm.
I think it's good to have that dynamic here on Earth. Like, it's great because, I mean, I had an experience in my youth that really taught me the difference between good and evil. And I don't necessarily mean to say my dad was completely evil, but he showed a lot of signs of what happens when you make a lot of bad decisions and you don't care about others and so on and
Right.
so forth, and have really poor relationships with people and so on and so forth. And then I got to see my mom, who was just like the opposite, and my dad was very an angry alcoholic, and was not, I mean, he wasn't like terrible at causing physical abuse all the time, but he had his occasions, and so like to see those two extreme differences in my life was really eye-opening and kind of probably helped me a lot in life because I saw the fruits of the good. And so what I'm trying to draw to is you have been a fruit of good in their life.
Mhm.
And don't think it hasn't done anything. Don't think that it's been pointless just because he hasn't responded to you well. Just because they haven't responded to you in a way that is equivalent or recognizing your fruits doesn't mean that it hasn't been effective. It
Mhm.
hasn't been useful or important to them, and changing and life changing for them. So, what I mean to say ultimately is chances are that no matter what you do from here, life will continue in such a way that you guys probably part ways. Maybe you don't. You don't know that. But all you can do is act out of goodness for now. and whatever happens, happens. And that's what you've been doing. I would say don't become attached and don't decide that your psychological well-being is going to be dependent upon this person's response to you, right? Obviously.
Yes.
You don't want to put yourself in that slave type position where they just don't really care to have a relationship because they're not in that mindset. And because of that, you don't want to get torn or something you can't control that. They can't even control that probably. So, if you're not getting the responses you're hoping for out of it, don't think it's any less of you, or don't think of it as something that should make you feel sad or feel bad. Like, I think it's good to feel bad for others who are a sad state, who are in need of help. Having that compassion and desire to help them is very good, and feeling sorrow for others is. But what I'm trying to say is, don't put yourself in a position where if they don't put in any effort to carry on your relationship, that means they don't like you. Because that's not the case. That's not how that works. Sometimes people sometimes they don't like you, but the reality is that you don't want that affecting how you feel about yourself throughout the day and how you feel about life throughout the day, because they're two separate of things. So I would say, recognize the good that you've done, recognize the good that you intended and have carried out the best that you can, because those things do really live on in others, and those things really do change people. Those things really do effectively have a high chance of changing someone's life for the better. Maybe not immediately, but eventually, and most hopefully. Sometimes, because people are their own people and they have their own free will, they might even recognize the good being thrown at them and reject it. That happens. So the best thing you can do is love them where they're at, and be the person you've been being, because that's all you can be, and that's what you're in their life to be. I know you mentioned your religious beliefs. I don't know what they are, but if you are where you are and they are where they are, and your lives have come together by some very likely very likely by the hand of God, he put you in each other's lives, you and all your friends, and you guys have been together and close and had this adventure for 12 or so or more years, and that's a beautiful thing, and you guys have utilized that for good, probably more good than bad. I'm sure also for bad, but that happens. So I think recognize that there's times and seasons, and sometimes we grow beyond the need of something that's been in our lives. Sometimes we don't grow beyond it, but we push it away because of something that's going on in our heads, and that's not great. But it seems to me that if God put you in each other's lives, the main thing God wanted for each other would be that you were present, and you clearly were. And so, in a way, job well done. And where do you go from here? I think the best thing you can do is just allow them to be them, and wish the very best for them. Give them your best for the time that you have, and in the future they might reach back out, and you end up talking for several hours in one day, and then you're like, wow, that was. And then maybe you guys become close enough to actually talk every once in a while, or every day, or maybe you guys get involved in the same business together and you start talking a lot, or maybe you never talk again, or you just talk once a year. All of that's okay. All of those things are okay, right? All of them can be good, and I think also ultimately what I'm saying is this is good. It's natural, and it can be good, even though it feels painful. And I think it's important that it feels painful, because I've spoken on this before, but it's similar. It's close enough. When someone dies, it's a really awful, painful experience for some of us. And one of the main reasons that's so painful is because something that was inherently incredibly valuable has been taken away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we know that we're going to reunite with them again in heaven, it still feels very painful. You have this depth in your heart that is now empty, it feels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that pain is a good and natural response to the value that that person had. And there's no amount of pain that you could ever suffer that really can match up. And sometimes it doesn't mean you're a monster or anything. Sometimes you don't feel that pain. You recognize that wow, that person was incredibly valuable and so on and so forth, but you don't feel the pain. And that's okay too. But my point of this is you currently are feeling the pain of loss or the worry of future loss, which is a painful experience. So it's very normal and natural to feel that pain of like, oh no, my friend and I are kind of getting away and I fear that I won't ever speak to them again. It's kind of like they are in a way, in a sense, dying to you. The relationship itself is dying. That third person of that equation, the relationship feels like it's dying. And the reason it's scary and the reason it hurts is because that is valuable. And it's been good. So what you've done is you've built something valuable and good, and it shows that you have a good heart. It shows that you have a heart that can recognize the value, and I think that's good. And it's okay. When people die, eventually, you just have to come to recognize like that's part of life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay. And in fact, it's better. It's better because all hopeful we all end up in a better place, and it's better. It's better that the world continues as it is, rather than staying still for the sake of a relationship or my personal desires. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good that the world keeps on spinning, regardless of whether I want it.
Regardless
So
of whether you want to what? You cut out
want it
there.
to freeze. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's all good. Whether I want it to freeze or not, yeah. It's good that the world keeps spinning. It's good that the world keeps moving forward and life continues as it is, because so much more good has yet to come.
Mm.
And as long as we live our lives towards that end, we'll find it. And I think that's great. So for them, I think the best thing you can do is, to your best, stay in touch and try to like, be the best person you can be to help them be the best they can be. Sometimes, people get involved with bad crowds and it really messes them up.
Mm.
The Smash Bros scene. I know that scene. Not that I've been a part of it, but I recognize that there was a lot going on in that scene. Over the past 10 years, there's been a lot of people who have been in that scene and feeling very depressed, suicidal,
Mm.
getting into bad habits, and drugs and stuff like that. There's been a lot of naughty business going on, like all stuff, right? And I recognize that if your friend was any part of that, the amount of influence that scene has on someone is huge, because being a pro in a Smash Brothers community is like you've got this instant fame and you're surrounded by these people who are acting a certain way, and they're all kind of children in a way, and so
Mm.
they're young adults who are just kind of beginning to find their way in life, and sometimes they come together and make bad decisions. So yeah, the Smash Bros controversy has been serious. Yeah, has been real serious. Yeah, absolutely. So I totally understand if he's kind of been thrown into that pocket and had to deal with it. Like, what are you going to do? I totally understand like turning to weed and being like, okay, yeah, I guess this is an option, because available, and it helps you de-stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, like anything, like anything in life, literally anything, pretty much, maybe except for prayer. I don't know. You will too much of anything can be a poison, right?
Mm.
And not only to our bodies but to our mental health.
Yeah.
So it's good that you're looking out for that. Um, yeah, the Smash community is just plain dramatic. Yeah, I stopped paying attention to it probably like 4 years ago, but I understand how crazy it's been, and so I mean, my heart goes out to him. That's a crazy place to get involved in, um, and it's totally understandable that he is in the state that he is. So what I would suggest is, I know that you say he doesn't open up and doesn't really want to talk about stuff. Maybe that's just the kind of guy he is. Maybe he just dwells with things internally and eventually sorts them out by himself. But it doesn't hurt to have someone to talk when when they feel ready. And so, if I were you, I would say, "Hey, man, I can see there's a lot of weight on your shoulders, and that makes sense to me. You have a lot going on in your life, and it's like, if I'm someone who happens to have been through there for most of it. If there's stuff I haven't been there for, whatever. But I'm willing to be an open ear if you ever feel like you want to talk about stuff. But if you don't, um, that's awesome, and you seem like the kind of person that solves things on your own, and they'll probably respect that, and maybe one day they'll open up, and they might come to you like in 3 years and be like, "Hey, how's it going, man? Um, I was seeing a therapist, and I just realized I kind of want to talk about some stuff." You know,
Mm.
like that happens. So, um, give them that key to your doorway, and let whatever happens happens, and wish the best for him, and do the best, being the best you can be. I think you're doing great already. I don't know what I can suggest for maintaining it. Because to be honest, I'm not that great at that. Um, and apparently none of my friends from school were either. And pretty much I've surrounded myself with people who aren't super great at it. I'll tell you the one thing that can make any relationship survive: get into work with each other. And I'll tell you, because you are forced to see each other because of your niche activities that you do throughout the day.
Mhm.
It really helps. So Kishan, if you're looking for any advice on how to keep it alive, that would be my number one go-to. Find a goal you are both reaching to achieve.
Mhm.
And if that goal is something also that is in your daily routine because it's how you make a living, or maybe even just in your monthly routine, you guys see each other once a month because of this endeavor, like that really helps. I would see Jeff was in the chat earlier. I would see him once every 3 months usually.
Mhm.
And we had a great friendship. Even that was great, even that a little amount. And there was always this feeling like, man, I knew him better. I wish I got to talk to him more, because I only got to see him once every 3 months. But it's always such a lovely thing when I get to see him.
Mhm.
And he's such an amazing person, a great heart,
Mhm.
and his wife too. So it was really cool meeting her at my wedding for the first time. But and for Joe, I mean, I would see him well, there was a time where I'd see him only once a month as well.
Mhm.
And that time, whenever we got together, we would literally like talk until like 5 in the morning, and then go to sleep and get back up at 7 in the morning. And like, because we were going to conventions together and
Uh-huh.
early in the morning, but we'd stay up super late. Joe, my brother, and I, we would just be talking and talking and talking about like the deepest things and about the shallowest things. We'd just be having such a great time.
Mhm.
And I love doing that. And so it was great to be able to just see him once every 3 months. And as things progressed with us, eventually it became once every month and then once every week, and it was great. And this Don't Worry Wednesday has been really great because we can, even though we don't get to talk all that much, we get to see each other and talk with you guys and
Mm-hmm.
interact together
Mm-hmm.
towards something. So it really makes a difference. So if you could find a goal to get into, even if it's something as silly as, hey, I want to be a pro. Can you help me? Train me. Like let's get together once a month and we'll have a session. You know, I know that's maybe a little shallow, I suppose, or maybe it feels a little bit weird to ask something like that. And I understand that it would be. Because maybe you have no interest in doing that, nor do you want to come off and rub off in that way. Like, I want to be a pro like you. Maybe that little make him feel good. But my point is, find something. Even something like Dungeons and Dragons. Hey, let's get together once every 2 weeks to do a game of Dungeons and Dragons. Those things help. Um, you know, that's my best for you. In terms of keeping a relationship alive, active, um, and and a part of your life. Yeah. Sorry, I talked for a really long time on that, but I tried to give you everything, and that was everything. So, um,
That
Joe,
was everything. That was everything you ever
yes,
needed to know.
yeah. Now you
Ryan
can.
nailed it, man.
Yeah. Got any more questions about anything ever? That's it. I've already answered it. You're like, how do I hang these curtains up? Oh, remember that thing?
Oh, remember what Ryan talked about? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Joe, I'm gonna
cool.
give it over to you, who's been a great friend in my life and who has kept relationships with me open and alive. So, I think you've been doing good in that.
Well,
So,
of course, and
anyways, yeah.
and we're in business together. That was one of my, it was crazy because like I don't know, I had a wait, Ryan, how do I fold a fitted sheet? Ryan, how do you fold a fitted sheet? Just go back and listen to Ryan's segment. You'll learn all about that. Uh,
Might want to turn some weird translator on and just milk it. Just
yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, this is a really good question, and I gotta say, Christian, I admire you. Like Ryan said, I admire you for your willingness to continue to try and continue to connect
Yeah.
and keep this relationship alive. And those efforts are worthwhile, regardless of the fruits of them, regardless of how things turn out and everything like that. Here's one thing I can tell you for sure: on this earth, you will become disconnected from everybody you know because eventually we die. And so we end up
Yeah.
disconnected, right? And so here's the thing, like relationships are weird, and whether they're romantic or friendships or family or whatever, they're dynamic. They change, they go through seasons, and it's crazy. But one of the things about love is that it hurts.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's like the deeper the love, the deeper the hurt, right? And a lot of that has to do with like what Ryan was saying. You have this sense of like you're losing something, like you had something, you want to hold on to it, and it feels like it's going away. And so then we freak out and we get out anxious about it, and we grasp onto that attachment, or like so there's a handful of different attachment styles, and these attachments can happen with friends, it can happen with significant others, it can happen with family members, whatever. We attach ourselves to somebody, and we could have a healthy attachment that's free, and like we feel good around them, but we still love them, and so when things happen it still hurts, but we don't freak out, right? So there's basically three different types of unhealthy attachment styles, and there's anxious attachment, there's avoidant attachment, and there's disorganized attachment. Anxious attachment is always looking for, oh my gosh, it's always this anxiety of like they're leaving. I feel like I'm losing them. I always feel like I'm losing them, and so like we get anxious and we grasp onto them, and a lot of times we end up smothering people in the process, and so that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work. And so
Mm-hmm.
then we have avoidant, which is like anytime we feel like we're starting to get close, we just like we push them away or run away or whatever because we have traumas in our lives that resurface, and so we want to protect ourselves by pushing people away because we feel like eventually they're going to hurt us, and so we push them away so they don't hurt us, but that hurts us too. So it's like it's crazy. And I've learned that mine is disorganized, which is kind of a combination between anxious and avoidant. Like I attach in that way, and part of that's based on, like I don't know. This developed. I didn't start off this way, right?
Sure.
But this developed after,
Yeah.
20 years of being with a person that was abusive, right? And it was crazy. Like, so to put into context, in this relationship I was in, I had to get into some kind of business venture with Ryan if I wanted him to be my friend.
Right.
Because I wasn't allowed to
Right.
just have friends. I couldn't just have a friend. Like, it had to be, if I had somebody that I wanted to be a friend with, I had to do some kind of work with them that would then have at least the possibility of bringing money in to the relationship. Otherwise, I couldn't have that friendship. Like, I couldn't have friends. It was crazy. And that was just a small part of it. But after dealing with that for a long time, now I have a disorganized attachment style. And so, like, if I attach to somebody, I will either, it kind of flip flops. I kind of flip flop between grasping onto them and pushing them away. Right? Because I don't want to get hurt. And so, like, I'll grasp onto them and, and that's not good for either of us. And then other times, depending, it's so weird because, like, then all of a sudden everything shifts and I'm all of a sudden just saying, screw you, like, in my brain. I don't say that out loud, right? But like, because I'm like, I don't want to get hurt, and so I'm going to push them away before they hurt me by leaving me.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Got it.
Workaholic attachment, yes.
Pretty real.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I've been called a workaholic a lot, and I don't think I really am a workaholic, but I just work a lot because I got things I want to accomplish. I got goals I want to accomplish. I've got things I want to do. I want to take care of people. There are people I want to take care of in my life. And
With how much you give up for your kids to spend time with them, I don't think it would be right to give you that title.
Of workaholic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because
I mean,
to
you
be at
definitely
everything.
work hard. Yeah, but you go to all of your kids' events. You try to be there every week that you get with them. You take time off for them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'm not avoiding my family. I'm not avoiding my kids. I'm trying to figure out how to work it into my schedule so I can be with them. They're important to me. But here's the thing, Kishan, I wanna impress this upon you. And this may not seem related, but it fits right in. And so we have two circles in our lives. Two circles. So think two circles. And they overlap each other slightly, right? So you got two circles and they kind of overlap, right? I don't know how to make a visual
Intersecting
right?
circles.
Yeah. One circle is the circle of concern. Okay? And that's everything that we're concerned about. Everything that concerns us, everything that kind of, we want to change, we want to make a difference in, we want to improve, these are the things we're concerned about, right? You have a career you want, like kind of looks like that.
It's the best I can do with text. Sorry, man. Deal with it.
So,
yeah, Venn diagram.
Venn diagram, but with two circles, right? Because doesn't a Venn diagram have three a lot of times?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But so we have
I don't know my math.
So we have our circle of concern. Those are the things that we're concerned about, the things that concern us. And then we have our circle of influence. Those are the things that we can do something about. Right? That we can actually influence and make better or affect through our efforts. And we generally tend to do the best when the things that are in our circle of concern are also in our circle of influence. So, like, the things that we're concerned about are things we can influence. So that's why it's crazy to me when people are newsaholics that watch a lot of news. Because most of the time they're watching these things that they have no influence over, no control over. There's nothing they can do to change anything. They're just getting filled with a bunch of information of things that then they get concerned about, but they can't do anything about. And so then it's really frustrating. So, how does this fit into this topic? Yes, exactly. Anxiety comes from the margin between where the circles don't overlap. Exactly. So like if we're so here's the thing. You have no control over what your friend is going to do. They may decide to not be friends anymore. They may decide to go and do something else and not be a part. And you feel them drifting away, and that's painful. And because we feel like we're losing something, and we look at those memories and all that kind of stuff. But the truth of the matter is we can't do anything. We sometimes there's nothing we can do to get somebody to stay in our lives. And that's really hard. Because our friends are definitely in our circle of concern. We're concerned about our friends. We're concerned about our relationships with our friends. We're concerned about, like how they're doing and how our friendship is doing and, whether or not we're close. And when you have a deep history with someone and you love them, of course, when it feels like they're going away, it hurts. But that's okay. I want to tell you it's okay for these things to happen, and it's okay that it hurts. Most of the time, we go through our lives and we think, if something hurts, it's not okay. Right? And the truth of the matter is, a lot of pain comes because there's something wrong that needs to be addressed. Like you cut your thumb off and it hurts. And there's a problem. You got to get your thumb put back on, or whatever.
Hopefully.
Get medical attention, something, right? So if you ever cut an appendage off, put it on ice, put like, try and stop the bleeding, what I can't remember the term, but you put like a rubber band around it and stop it, whatever.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say tincture.
That's what I was thinking, tincture, but it's not that.
No.
So
that's something else, right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
a tincture is the thing of fluid that you drop, you
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Drop.
I was like,
that's a tincture.
Yeah.
But so tourniquet, thank you. Yes, it's a tourniquet.
That's it.
Kishan, you're the man. So anyway, when we do something that damages us, yes, it hurts, right? But sometimes it hurts just to love somebody. Sometimes it hurts just because we love somebody and we see them doing things that, it makes us concerned about that. I've had friends that have gotten into drugs. I've had friends that have gotten into alcohol. I've had friends that have gotten into all kinds of things. And sometimes it concerns me because I can watch them kind of getting out of control. And I've been in that stage of life before where I was out of control with drug use.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what kind of life that is. It's not very productive and it's not very happy. And so if I have a friend that starts going down that road, I will talk to them and I'll just be like, look, man, I see some things kind of happening, I would be a really terrible friend if I didn't bring it up because I care about you and I love you and I want things to go well for you. And this path doesn't really lead to anywhere good. And so I got to bring it up. I got to ask you. And, that usually goes pretty good. Like if you can, sometimes they get defensive, whatever, but if you say, I found the words, dude, I would be a terrible friend if I didn't bring this up. When you
Hmm.
say something like that, it kind of softens the blow, right? Because a lot
Yeah,
of
for
times,
sure it does.
like when we call somebody out on their behavior, even if it's bad, we get defensive, you know, all that. But Kishan, you don't have any control over your friend's choices. You can influence them. You can talk to them. You can maybe uh, have some kind of intervention where you could help them change. But a lot of times we don't. A lot of times we don't have direct influence with somebody to change their life or to help them change their life because they have to make those choices. And so a lot of times all we can do, the only thing we can do is just love them. And what does that mean? That means inside we wish the best for them. We care about them. And you're already doing these things of trying to stay in contact and trying to keep that alive. And I admire that. But I will also say, you said something at the very end where you're like, uh, oh, you said, I just have this feeling in the back of my head that if I don't do something before I move on in my life, I'm never going to see him again. And that can be a really tough thought to deal with. I'm never going to see this person again. And we think in terms of, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose this person. I'm going to lose this friendship. I'm going to lose this relationship, And then we start to feel loss and we start to feel concern and then we start to get anxious and then all kinds of things can happen. But all you can do, Kishan, is love them and care. And I've started to understand how important it is to have people in your life that also love you back. And, that's how God is. God loves us, but we're free to choose to love him in return or not. And he gives us that choice, right? He loves us. He wants to be close with us, but he also doesn't want to force us to do that. He wants to be chosen by us as somebody to love. And that's real love then. When you love and then you are loved in return by choice, that's real. If somebody loved me because they felt forced to love me, that wouldn't be real. And that's why it's crazy to me because I see a lot of people who are really religious that I feel like they don't really love God, but they feel like they have to if they want to go to heaven. Because they don't want to go to hell, they do all these things, but the love isn't really there in their heart, and you can kind of tell. You just look at them. You look at how they are. They're not very loving people, right? I see a lot of Catholics like that are very rule oriented, you know. And I'm like, where's love? No, I also see a lot of Catholics who are full of love, right? There are also a lot of ones that just go through the motions, say this is what we do because these are the rules, and if you don't follow the rules, you go to hell. And it's like, no. Hell is just the only alternative if we decide to not be with God. Right? It's separation from him. And so that's devoid of love since God is love and we crave love. We are created to love.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with that, Alphonse.
exactly, Alfonso. You're absolutely right. Joe is the goat. Thank you. Yes, I'm the goat because I have a beard. That makes me.
You know what? I
Kishan,
kind of need to shave so that I can have a goatee.
Oh, you could totally do that. You could pull it off.
And then if I had a goatee, I'd have a goat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I'd
have
be
a
the goat.
goatee. I've got a big old
Yeah.
big old not just a goatee.
Yeah, a big old face of hair.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Kishan, you say in the chat, I will say that it's less of a worry and more of just how do I do things. If I move on, I will probably forget about this person as they leave my zone of influence. I'd just like to make that decision intentionally. I understand the desire to intend whatever it is, right? But sometimes we want. Sometimes what that is, and I'm not saying it's you're this way in this instance or not, but I've noticed in myself, in my own life, when I think like that, when I really boil it down, because I introspect a lot. I ask myself, why do I do things this way? Why? Why? And then I'll ask why and continue to ask why. Well, why do I do this? Well, because of this. Well, why that? Well, because of this. Well, okay. Well, then why does this happen? Well, because this happens. And then, and I just continue to ask why until I get to the cause. And a lot of times it's because I want to feel like I'm in control of this. Like I want to control it, but even though I know I can't, I want to at least feel like I'm in control. And if I don't, then I feel all out of control. And then that's no fun. But the truth is, I can't control much. The only thing I can control is what I choose to do. I can't control what anybody else chooses to do. I can only do my best to be the best that I can. And that's it. And whatever happens all around that, in whatever anybody else's lives, whether it's a customer or a friend or a whoever, right? I don't have any control over what they decide. And that can be really tough. But when we finally come to grips with it, we can finally be at peace. We can have a little bit more peace. And when we can feel pain and then in our heart offer forgiveness to that person, we don't have to tell them, we don't have to say it out loud. They might not even know there's a problem. But if we can have a forgiving attitude, then that brings a lot more peace too. And I've said it in my heart so many times, I forgive this person and to lots of people. And what that does is that brings peace. So Kishan, I want you to experience the peace that's available to you with this. And to understand, you can make your intentions known. Um, what was I going to say? I totally lost my train of thought. It's true that if you move on, you might forget about them. At least they won't be in the front of your mind all the time. But we do remember people. Remember those people that are close to us. I mean, we don't think about them all the time because we're thinking about other stuff. We're thinking about, and it's good to be present in the moment, in the time you are right now, rather than thinking about somebody who's not there and who maybe used to be a friend or whatever. But then in our quiet moments, we can remember and we can think and, all that. So I don't think you'll ever forget them. I don't think you ever will. You might just not think about them all the time. And that's okay. Because I've learned that some people in our lives, everybody comes into our life and everybody goes from our life eventually. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We might have a person that we're friends for 60 years. And then one of us dies. And they're not there anymore. And that can be really painful. But we also had a lot of those good times. And I love what Ryan said, that the earth the world continues to move forward, and that's a good thing. So anyway, Kishan, I hope you can find some peace in this. But all of the things that are happening here, it's okay. And what you are doing, based on what you said you were doing in your topic and what you've said in the chat and all that kind of stuff, you, Kishan, have an incredible heart. And you put forth an incredible amount of effort for your friends. And I admire that. I admire that a lot. Because I try to do the same thing. I try to do, I'm the kind of person that would pretty much do anything for my friends. I'll drive 6 hours, whatever. And I don't know, there's more I would do actually. But my friends are important to me. And so I'll do anything I can to help them in their lives and to be close to them. The problem is if it becomes selfish, if it becomes self-seeking, that's when we start to get a problem. That's what I've noticed in my life too. Like anytime I'm looking for a friend because I want to feel good because I have that friend, that's wrong. And then I have to shift my gears to, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure they know I love them, to make sure they feel loved, to make sure they feel important. Because it's about them, it's not about me. And the more we can let go of our selfishness and our self-centeredness, the more peace we have, the more openly we love, and the more free we are. So I'd encourage you, a lot of times these things are just a matter of perspective. And we have anxiety based on, an attachment that we feel is going away. And that's okay. It's okay to hurt. But it's also okay to move on. So I would encourage you to keep moving forward. I would encourage you to not stop your life. But also, I would also encourage you to not keep trying and don't burn bridges. I've only burned bridges one time, maybe two, actually. Once was professionally and once was personally with friends, where I've burned bridges, and that really stinks. So, yeah. So anyway, I don't know. That's what I got. Ryan, do you have anything else?
No, I don't think I do. I think that was well said. I guess the last thing I could say would be what Sally said. You can leave them while leaving the door open for a reunion. But if you leave, you don't need a reunion. Live the best life you can and trust them to do the same. Your paths may cross again.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
True. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for the topic, Kishan. And yeah, hopefully some of what we had to say helped. And I wish you the
Hey,
best.
Mahandi.
Hey, Marhandi, how's it going? I
Yeah,
wish
you're
you all
awesome,
the
Kishan.
I wish you all the peace that you can find in this. I hope that you can find peace in all of this. And even though, yeah, it might hurt for a while and there might be a little bit of an ache in your heart, you might feel some tightness in the chest that's not a heart attack, it's just emotion, right?
That started today on Marhandi. We've not seen it before today, so I don't know when it started, but it started sometime between today and last week.
Yep, but it's here now.
It's here.
So cool. Thank you, Kishan.
Thank you so much for the topics, Kishan.
Yes, absolutely.
You are loved here, and we thank you for stopping by, and you're
Yes.
free to stay, naturally.
Yep.
Thank you for the topic.
All right. So, shall we move on to Saule?
Yes, Saule has one.
Saule has a topic.
And there's one that is also in the queue.
Oh, was that Heroes?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Well,
but we can do that another time.
okay.
But we'll get to Sally's first.
Yes. So
I was just making a note of it.
Saules has a title of Insomniac.
Whoa.
um so yeah, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put this up on the screen so you guys can read aloud. Or so you guys can read aloud while I read silently.
Yeah.
How about that?
I like the idea of that. They'll read it.
Yeah.
We'll listen. I'll just be quiet on the stream for a little bit.
No, flip that around. I'll read it aloud. You guys can read along with me. But yeah, that'll work, won't it?
Yep, that'll work for
Yeah.
sure.
These are recent topics, Alfonso. So,
Yeah, all of them are basically this week. So if you guys have any topics, we are soon coming on empty once again.
yep.
So
Otherwise,
please do submit topic.
we're just gonna talk about whatever suits our fancy, and that's scary for you guys.
Thanks, Ale.
Yes. All right. So here is the topic. It's called Insomniac, and here it is. Somniac days. Hopefully, this topic makes sense. I wrote it in a bit of a rhyme since that's how I was thinking at the time. I think it's pretty straightforward. Why in the nighttime does my mind become awake? Why under sunlight does my body start to ache? In the night when I create, I have no time. I must force myself to sleep for the sunlight's harvest still to reap. By force of will, I journey to the job. By God's grace, I harvest sunlight still. And what to do? Still, I ask you why. Why in the nighttime does my mind become awake? Why under sunlight does my body start to ache? Always tired when at work. Nearly fall asleep as soon as I get home. But when the sun has set and it's time for bed, something pops into my head. Then I find it hard to rest until the self drawn task is done. Finally, I ask you, why in the nighttime does my mind become awake? Oh, that's good.
Mm. Mm. I like
Um,
that a lot.
yeah. Saule, thank you so much for the topic. And you know, I'm sorry if I didn't read that correctly. I'm not very good at poetry.
I
I
thought that
try
was
my
beautiful.
best. I try my best. I do. But yeah. So why is that? You know, that's a really good question because I struggle with that too.
Mm.
I struggle with that while, you know, like I finally get in bed and then all of a sudden, ding, my eyes are wide open and I can't sleep.
Mm.
Um, I've tried taking melatonin. There was a time, actually, this is probably not the appropriate, actually, kind of is. I would take Benadryl, which is the same as, it's the same as whatever the over the counter sleep aid medicine is. It's an antihistamine, but it causes drowsiness. And so, like, for a long time, I would actually put myself to sleep with Benadryl. And I'm not telling you to do
Okay.
this. I'm not advising this, right? But I mean, you can always go talk to a doctor, and that might be a good idea if it's a problem, right? But a lot of times it's just our brains are racing, and you know, Saule, I've talked to you a handful of times, and I know that your mind is very active and very powerful,
Mm.
and so I'm not surprised that things keep you awake, that a thought comes up and then you got to process it and you got to work through it and you got to figure it out and then you got to find the answer. And then when you figure that one out, another one comes in, right? And it just keeps going. So, what I finally started doing to help me fall asleep, first of all, I exhaust myself at work. So by the time I go to bed, I'm pretty doggone tired. But even still, I'll lay there and be awake. And so I would have to take, I remember Ryan talking about this. You know, if you can't sleep, at least lay there still so your body can rest.
Mm.
right? And it's best to not have some kind of entertainment going on. So I have found
Yeah,
on YouTube,
it's true.
I have this mask, this blackout mask thing, and it's got some headphones in it. And I will put on something that has binaural beats on it, usually, or some kind of noise. I came across this YouTube channel. I can't. God, what is? I think it's sleep ASMR or something like that.
Mm,
And it's not. What it is just different sounds. You know, it's not somebody talking. It's not. It's not ASMR in that sense. But what's happening is, he's created all these different sounds that are just there to help you relax, and it's like a 10-hour video, right?
mm. Wow. Wow, that's a
so
long enough to sleep, hopefully.
so like, this is the sound of oxytocin, this is the sound of serotonin, this is the sound of cinnamon, this is the sound of whatever, right? Or this is
Cinnamon.
obsidian noise or whatever, right? And so, like, and some of these are just noises that are blended together to help you relax. My son got me this. Actually, last night I was listening to ocean waves. There was a ocean
Mm.
waves for like 10 hours on YouTube that I found, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do that. I want to feel like I'm at the ocean. I want to feel like I'm on the beach, and turned a fan on so it felt like a breeze coming off of the water.
Nice.
And I had waves going,
Nice.
and that helped me fall asleep. But so sometimes um we have to put our mind into a different place. And for me, sound does that. Sound helps me a lot.
Mm.
And so if I'm listening to something, if it's musical, a lot, excuse me, if it's music, a lot of times it'll keep me awake because I'm analyzing it. I'm listening
Mm.
to the instrumentation. I'm listening to, whatever. I'm listening to the production value. There's all this stuff. And so I'm picking it apart. But if I listen to just sounds, and man, some people it's just rain. If you put on something that's just the sound of rain, that can help fall asleep. For me, rain works, waves works. A trickling stream makes me have to
Mm.
pee.
Oh, how about a billowing brook?
A billowing brook.
Does that
I
make
don't.
you have to pee more?
Maybe,
Pee harder?
maybe. But anyway, so that's some stuff to get started. I'm gonna turn it over to Ryan and see what Ryan has to say about this. So Ryan, it's all yours, buddy.
Yeah, I'll give you my best. Honestly, I don't think I can help that much. I'm gonna do
Well,
my
wait.
best though.
Well, you had trouble falling asleep though, right? And didn't your brother
Yes.
tell you all this kind of stuff about how easy it was to fall asleep, and then he demonstrated by
Oh
falling
yeah.
asleep in front of you
Yes, he
or
literally did
something?
that. Yeah. So ever since I was a kid, like I all I can do is at the beginning, I'll do my best to help, but at first I'll just relate. Like when I was a kid, ever since I was, since I can remember, I remember I'd be sent to bed because it's bedtime, and I would just stay up, and I had to go to bed as a child before the sun went down, especially in the summer.
Oh,
The
that's
summer,
hard. That's tough.
and I would just stay there and look around my room and just hear everybody in the house doing their thing, sometimes laughing, sometimes just being, sometimes tinkering with things. I hear my mom do the dishes,
Uh huh.
etc. I hear the birds outside. It's like, and eventually it got dark, and I would just lay. And then sometimes I'd fall asleep, and sometimes I wouldn't. I've had this problem since I was, I don't know, I can remember. Um, and I remember even when I was little, I was probably like, I don't know, 6, 7.
Uh-huh.
I asked my brother, yeah, like, how do you fall asleep? I was like, how do you just fall asleep whenever you want? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And he's like, it makes plenty of sense. He's like, here, you're just doing it wrong. It's like this. And then he
I'm sorry.
literally fell
I'm sorry.
asleep.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. to
You laugh
you
because
know,
he said you did it wrong?
yeah, because like
Yeah,
you're doing it wrong.
always.
That's classic.
You're doing it wrong. Yes, it's
Yeah.
classic Kyle. He's like, "You're doing it wrong," and he just like watch me, and he literally fell asleep. I'm not even joking. I was like, "This is ridiculous." So, um, I it's not like it was every day of my life. It was just many days. And even one is too much, right? It's just a really awful experience. But if it happens a lot, like once a week or more, you kind of get used to it over your lifetime, and you just figure, okay, you like I said, like Joe was saying, sometimes the best thing you do is just lay there.
Yeah.
I have found
True.
at times that if I get up, like out of my bed, go get a drink of water or something small that doesn't take a lot of energy brain, and then lay back down, sometimes I'll fall asleep. Don't know why. I've noticed that hydrating my body helps me fall asleep. So if you aren't someone who knows when they're dehydrated because you don't have the sensors in your mind for it, similar to me, this is weird. So I don't know how you guys feel when you hydrate, what dehydration feels like, but
Hmm.
when I am dehydrated, I know because I feel short of breath. Because I guess H2O has something to do with the process of oxygen to ATP. But I think maybe it's blood flow. I don't know. Regardless, when I get dehydrated and I don't know I'm dehydrated for like a really long time, and
Uh-huh.
eventually I'll start to feel short of breath. And at that point, I'm like, oh, right, that means I have to drink water. So
Uh-huh.
I don't know how you are, Saleh, with this. Everyone's different. So if you don't experience uh, dehydration when it's happening, um, yeah, you always try to stay hydrated. Okay, especially before I learned that one from a few years ago. Yeah, it definitely helps. Yeah, I noticed that it helps. It doesn't always help. Like last night, for example, um, I got a couple of winks in. I slept for probably I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe 2 hours out of the 6 or so that I laid there, which is not bad. But it's not great. My wife had a similar experience, which is weird. She's not an insomniac, but a couple days ago, it also happened where I just didn't really get any sleep at all, and I just laid there the whole night. So what I'm saying is, I still have the problem. All I can do is um, make attempts. And yeah, it's been very hot and humid. Where we're at is a very small room, so the problem is we can open up our window, which is helpful. I think having air moving in the room feeds your body oxygen and helps your mind become at ease and fall asleep better. There's potential truth to that. But the problem is we live in or we're currently in the middle of Tokyo, and I've, I, we can sleep through the noise, but it also makes it very difficult. We live right next to a hospital with the
Oh
ambulance
my.
going at every hour.
Oh my.
Um, and they're very
That is
loud.
that is loud.
I've never lived in a louder place in my entire life. Tokyo is very loud. Um, I would say it's the loudest city I've ever been in. Of course, that makes sense. It's the biggest city I've ever been in, but it's also the loudest by a lot. Um, so, anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's difficult. I think there are a lot of things that help and a lot of things that for me don't help. Like I've taken melatonin. Is that the right one?
Yeah.
Melanin. Okay,
No,
melatonin.
melatonin.
Okay, thank you.
Melanin is a pigment in your skin.
I've taken that as well.
You've taken
Um,
skin pigment.
yeah, I've done both.
Oh, both of them.
And I'm not like by pill, just like by dead skin cells or
Oh yeah,
whatever that
yeah,
happen
yeah.
to
Oh, I guess
be
we all do that
swallowed.
then, probably.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
Um, I take melanin on a daily basis. Anyways, I've taken melatonin and had no change. I don't know. It doesn't work on everybody. And in fact, they say if you start taking it, you're only supposed to take it for a short period of time because if you take too much of it, you're going to cause an imbalance and it's going to affect for
Mm.
you. Um, and I've taken NyQuil, things like that, drugs that are supposed to put you to sleep.
Uh-huh.
Um, And sometimes they make me feel really drowsy, and I just lay there all night feeling this wooziness
Mm-hmm.
and like this drowsiness, and I'm just like, my mind will just go every direction all at once, and I'll be having living, waking dreams and I'll be thinking about watching myself in my dream, and also be aware and thinking about the fact that I'm doing both of them at the same time, and then also probably thinking about who knows what, like, hey, maybe I can cook a dish with this in it or something.
Yeah.
Like, my mind will be going crazy.
Chicken.
So NyQuil's like, yeah, chicken. That's right. Every day, chicken. There was a great old skit I watched a long time ago. I wish I could find it. Me and my brother found it hilarious, but this guy would come home from work and he'd ask him, like, what's for dinner? And he'd say, chicken. What's for dinner tonight? Chicken patty. Chicken patty on a wheat roll. And and it was just every day was chicken. And I don't remember why it was funny, but I remember me and my brother laughing at it. But yeah, anyways, that was a weird aside. But anyhow, I think it's hard. It's just really hard, Sally, and I wish I could really give you a strong answer. But I have this problem too. But here's the difference, I think. Like, my mind is really powerful, and I can force myself to stay awake, right?
Uh-huh.
But I can't force myself to fall asleep.
Mm.
At any moment when I'm about to fall asleep, I can stop it. I can be like, no, I don't, no, it's not time to sleep yet. And I can stay awake for days. Like, it's totally possible. And it's weird to me that people have these things like, if you stay awake for more than X days, you go crazy. And I'm like, I've done that. Or if you haven't eaten in this long, you die. Kind of close to that, Or if you don't go to the bathroom once every week or something, your bowels explode and you die. And I'm like, I've done that so many times. What are you talking about? And yeah, like, I know people that have literally, they go once a month or once every like 1.5 months and they're living. So I don't understand these like documentations in like 3 days and they've been holding it in, and then now they have to go to the hospital. Why? I'm so confused right now. I've done that on accident. What are you talking about? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. People are so different from each other, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I can force myself to stay awake. I cannot force myself to fall asleep. And when I'm laying there, it's not usually that I'm thinking about like, the things I want to do, or the things that I like. It's rarely that I'm even thinking hard about something and that's keeping me awake. Usually my mind is pretty, I don't know, it's not racing. It's just calm. And I can choose to think about stuff, or I can let my mind wander and it will be obnoxious. And that can be somewhat enjoyable sometimes. I find that this is my experience. The best way for me to have fallen asleep ever since I was a little boy into an adult, there's one method that has worked more than any, and that is to choose to spend that time in prayer. Because if I'm gonna be awake anyways, I'm like, I might as well pray. And I remember when I was a kid, I'd like literally, this is not even a joke. I was a little kid, and this would happen until like my adulthood. Um, I'd be like, go to sleep, laying there for hours, or maybe sometimes just like half an hour, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should pray. I'm just here anyways. I should pray. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Father. Like, no joke. No joke. I'm not even joking. That has happened so many times. So I think there's something to that. Maybe it's a has something to do with being at peace or just focusing. I find that sometimes if I choose to focus on one thing really specific, I'll fall asleep. Sometimes that doesn't work though.
Mm.
But it might also have to do with just the Holy Spirit being like, dude, just go to sleep. Be at peace.
Mm-hmm.
And just totally makes me fall asleep or something. I don't know. But I've had many experiences. Yeah, exactly. The Holy Ghost. But right, I think so. But I don't know what it is. All I can say is it's worked. So bottom line is stay hydrated. Maybe get some flowing air. I don't know if that's yet. I'm testing on that. it might be helpful. I know a lot of people sleep with white noise. I
Mm.
can't. If there's a song playing or even just the sounds of nature, my brain will hone in on that and start to do stuff. Like I will listen to like birds chirping outside, and then I could make a melody with that. It goes do 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 do. Ah, yeah, it's kind of unrhythmic though. These birds need to get with.
Yeah,
You guys are so out of
come
sync.
on, birds.
You know,
Figure it
my brain
out.
is just everywhere. Yeah, I remember listening to ocean waves, and I was like, "Man, these ocean waves are so annoying. I can't fall asleep." I don't know. Fans can be really annoying. It's like they blow on you and they cycle, and I can hear them. Or like I
Well, that's
remember
if you
there
get
was a
the
clock
fans
in
that
one.
fans
Yeah,
that
those
change
are old.
directions.
Yeah, old school fans, or yeah, that's changing ones. I remember there was one time I had to sleep in a room for like a month, and there was this clock in there, and it was quiet. You could never hear it. You could never hear this clock until the dead of night, where you were laying in bed, and all of a sudden the clock, you could faintly hear it. And then it got louder and louder and louder. All I can hear is this stinking clock.
Uh-huh.
It's driving me
Yeah.
mad. It's
But
not
some
even
people,
making
that's how they
like,
sleep.
yeah.
They have to have
I don't
that
know.
ticking, that constant ticking sound.
Yeah, yeah. And so all I'm saying is everyone's different. So if you find your thing, that's great. Um, I just the only thing I can recommend is the things that have worked for me is um dark, dark room.
Hmm.
Um, do your best to rest, pray. Um, sometimes getting up for a second and coming back down, even if it's like getting up to get a drink, go to the bathroom, or sometimes just go up, stay awake for like an hour and come back to bed.
Hmm.
Sometimes that can be incredibly fruitful.
Yeah.
I've had days where it's like the whole week I just wasn't sleeping well. One day I'm like, I'm sick of this. I'm getting up. I'm not doing anything anyways with this time. And I get up, go do something for an hour or half an hour or whatever, and all of a sudden I kind of feel like, hey, I kind of feel like maybe I can go to sleep. Let me go try. And then I try it and I can fall asleep. So that's happened on a number of occasions. So um, for me, I think what's worked the best, the very best, um, in my lifetime has been sincerely working myself to exhaustion. So you don't always have that option, especially if you're on a schedule.
Hmm.
I recognize that, this world we live in, everyone says, get on a schedule. You go to sleep at this time, you wake up at this time. I think that's the healthiest way to live. But when I've done that as a child, there are many nights where I was just like restless, couldn't sleep, nothing I could do about it, be tired for the day, whatever. Um, Not helpful. But when I became an adult and I was like in a position where I had my own job with schedule, I was able to work until I was like, I am dead tired. I'm going to sleep. Like I'm actually tired where I can say, okay, I'm gonna sleep. And I walk into the bed, lay down, and I fall asleep. But that's only because I had the privilege of not having to have a schedule. And I could do that every day. And
Hmm.
I could fall asleep pretty much every day. But without like there's probably like a full year or something in there where I fell asleep every night without a problem.
Hmm.
But that's not something everybody gets to have. We're all built differently. So I think some of us are just built to work weird hours. I think some of us live on a 16-hour day, and some of us, maybe like you and I, we live on this weird time that doesn't have anything to do with the sun, and we're supposed to be awake for like 19 hours and go to sleep for 6 or 8 and then wake up in 19 hours and then wake up and do another 19 hours. Or maybe it's like 23 hours and then you go to sleep for 8 and you wake up and you stay up for 23 hours and your clock has nothing to do with the sun, but at least you're sleeping. So it's really weird. It's a really weird situation, Saude, and I'm sorry that the best I can do is kind of just relate to you and give you a little bit of advice about prayer. Prayer is really helpful. It's been helpful to me in the past. It's continuing to be helpful in the present. Um, get the best rest you can with what you can muster. Sometimes just try different things. I think that's really the the best thing to do is try different things. Try paying attention to what you're eating and the days that you sleep. Over this last year, I've figured out that I am indeed, me and my wife are both actually allergic to seafood and fish.
Mm,
And growing up in my childhood, I had no idea. But
mm,
it turns out that just very mildly, we are. So pay attention to the stuff you're eating. Eating isn't everything. Pay attention to the stuff you're breathing. That's important too.
mhm,
There's a bunch of molecules in there messing with your brain. You don't know it's there, but it's there. And it can really mess with you. It can really mess with your sleep. It can really mess with your energy levels, of how well you feel. It can really mess with your head and give you headaches and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of underrated how important what you're breathing in every day is. So pay attention to that. Maybe you've got like mold growing in your room somewhere and you don't even know about fire and you kill that mold. Who knows? Could be so many things, Saturday, and I wish I could. So what I'd say is best thing you can do is, for the time being, experiment.
mm,
You have this time. You aren't, from what I know, you aren't necessarily sleeping in a room with a significant other. You have your place to yourself. You can try different things. You can try different sleep schedules. You could try taking a 15-minute rest in the afternoon and then seeing if that helps you sleep for some reason in the evening. That sounds weird, but honestly, that can help. You can try sleeping a little earlier. I can tell you, sometimes I catch my second wind, and I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate. I just got my second wind, and now I'm gonna be up for like another like a whole day.
uh-huh,
You know,
yeah.
like it's bad. It happens though. Um, so I'd say just try to pay attention to maybe keep a journal of the things you're eating, the environments you're in, um, the changes you're making. Try blowing air around in the room. Try um, different noises, like Joe suggested. Try different things and write a journal about it, and then mark that down. And maybe eventually you'll get some answers. And if you do get some answers, feel free to share them.
Mm,
That'd be cool.
mhm.
I'd really appreciate that myself, and probably many others would. So Sally, I think that'd be great. Sally, you said prayer is always good. I have been trying to pray anytime I get into a car. Yes, that's really great. I had that habit for a long time. I still kind of continue that habit. I haven't done it as much this last year, but so it has been great. I have slipped a little recently. Okay, yeah, but I want to get back into it every time. Yeah, yeah, no, it's really great. Things like that. Um, yeah, no, that's huge. I feel like so much better if I spend time in prayer.
Mm,
Um, 2 nights ago, my wife encouraged me to pray, and so we prayed in bed for like 30 minutes straight, and that was like just like felt good. And I noticed that I had a big impact on the next day. Like I felt more grounded the next day. I felt more holy, or not just like holier, but just like my intentions and my thoughts were holier, right? And so it's like, yeah, getting back into doing that is really important. I used to pray 2 hours a day and have really been slacking. I expect myself to do that anymore, because I've got a lot going on. But I still think that that time is really important. And so if you can spend time like that, I think that it makes a world of difference, even if it's not helping you sleep. And I think that leaves me with one last thing to say. Maybe the sleepless nights are intended to be a blessing to you so that you can be a blessing to others.
mm,
If you could spend that time in prayer, maybe it's, maybe God blesses some of us with um with insomnia. And it's not necessarily a curse, but more of a, because it gives us a little bit of extra time to pray that others don't necessarily have.
mm,
Um, so you can consider that a blessing and make an attempt. And I think that it would actually benefit you and others around you not getting the sleep. Right. There are people in this world who do something I think that's called holy hours, where they at 3 o'clock in the morning they will wake up, get out of bed, and do specific prayers and go back to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they sleep or not, they're on it, right? It doesn't matter if they get sleep or not. They're going to do it. And I think that's so honorable and awesome. And that's not just at 3 a.m. I think they do it at 3 a.m., 3 p.m., and they might also do it at 9. I can't remember exactly. Joe might know more about that. But anyways,
It depends on how
it's
many they
impressive,
want
and
to
I think
do.
it's beautiful. Yeah. Everyone has a different devotion anyway.
Right.
So if it's something that you feel a calling to, I think it would probably be probably one of the most useful things you could ever do with your time ever. You know, you can't go wrong with time spent in prayer. So I think obviously there's a time where we're called into action. There's Anthony of the Desert. I suggest looking up his story. He's such an amazing guy, but he's like, I just want to pray. I just want to be by myself in the desert. He's like there, and all these people start coming to him, and he's like, who's sending you? Why are you coming to my house out in the middle of the desert? Stop. But at the same time, he's like helping them. He's like, because they're coming to him for advice, and he's like, why are you coming to me for advice? They're like, you're such a spiritual person, but like, you're out here in the desert all alone being a hermit, and it's so cool, and we just want to learn from you. And he's like, and he prays to God, and he's like, God, help, this is annoying. And God's like response is, you're supposed to be helping people. What are you doing in the desert?
Yeah.
If you're gonna be, and he's like, I'm gonna be in the desert, and
Dude,
and eventually
you just cut out for a while.
Oh, bummer.
was
Well,
weird.
regardless, you can read the story by yourself. So anyways, Anthony of the Desert, I think that's what it is. He's got a great story for that. But anyways, yeah, I'd suggest that. Fair. Make use of the time. Make the best use of the time that you can, because maybe it's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not necessarily just a curse. Maybe it really is a blessing. And if you start, you might be like, I'm thankful that I have insomnia, because it has helped me in so many areas of my life by picking up these habits of prayer and thinking about things that, like, sometimes I do need to spend a little bit of extra time thinking about these things and settling them, and then I have a better perspective about things, and so on and so forth. So I personally, ever since I was a kid, have never been angry about my insomnia. I've taken it as kind of like a trophy that I didn't earn. Kind of like, hey, I'm cool because I have insomnia. Which I don't necessarily think that's healthy, but at the same time,
I don't know. It's
I've
pretty
accepted
common.
it.
It's common,
Yeah,
and
it's
and we
common.
can relate
Yeah,
to other people that have it, and so that
yeah,
gives us a connection
yeah,
point. I
yeah. Right,
understand.
right. It certainly does. Yeah, and so I would say, do with it what you can, and I think that you really utilize it for the good of humanity and good of yourself and good of God and His kingdom and so on and so forth. So that's my best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Make a journal, take notes, and while you have it, use it wisely.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's it.
Awesome.
Sorry, that took a really long time to say. Joe,
Thanks, Ryan.
on
No,
to
it's
you.
no problem. What up, Zay? It's good to see you, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Saule, I
Hello,
kind
hello.
of I kind of told you all the things that I recommended before Ryan talked, and we're getting close to the end
Mm-hmm.
anyway. Um, Ryan talked a little bit about routine, and how a lot of times people are like, oh, you need to be on a strict routine, blah 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 blah. And there's all these tips you can find, like, oh yeah, just go to bed at the same time every day, get up at the same time every day. Some people can do that, and sometimes and routines can give us structure, and so we can relax. That's what a routine can do. But sometimes
Sure.
they also feel constrictive, and so then we feel more stressed, right?
Mm.
Like in Ryan's case, what he was talking about, like when you had that routine, but that routine was imposed upon you. It wasn't one that you
Yeah.
chose, right?
Right. Naturally.
Right. So everybody's different. But I love what Ryan said. Pay attention to what you're eating. Pay attention to what you're breathing. Pay attention to what you're drinking. Pay attention to all these things, and you can experiment. I like that idea of saying, you know what? Hey, if you're not sleeping anyway, might as well try some other things. And I guess if you don't sleep, well, you were in that state anyway,
Hmm.
so you didn't lose anything, right?
Yeah.
The funniest thing is it's crazy. The older I get, the more the weirdest things put me to sleep. Like I'll sit here and I'll watch a movie, right?
Hmm.
And through the sappy, stupid part, I'm like wide awake. But then it gets to the
Oh
part where
no.
everybody's shooting each other and I fall asleep.
That's hilarious.
Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
more
yeah.
action there is, all of a sudden I fall asleep. And so then I'll wake up and it's the end credits or it's gone to a different movie because I slept through the whole thing. And then, I go back to where I was like, where did I leave off on this thing? Where did I leave off? And sure enough, every time I fell asleep like right at the beginning of the violent scene where everything got exciting.
Oh, wow.
And I
That's
slept right through
interesting.
it. It's weird. But I don't know, part of it has to do with how tired we are sometimes. Part of it has to do with how relaxed we are and how um can we let our mind go and not be focused on something. Or and that's where Ryan talked about prayer being so good. I think who was it? Was it Hero who said praying the rosary? Yeah. Praying
Hmm.
the rosary before bed is NyQuil levels of potency for me. Personally, it's rare that I can get through a full one. I understand that.
Yeah.
I have the
Yep.
same experience with
That's
the
true.
rosary. The rosary is a sleep aid. But the reason is because it's meditative and it puts us
Sure.
in a different state of mind. So meditation a lot of times, so Ryan talked about prayer, that's very important, that's very effective. Meditation also can be, and the point
Hmm.
when you're meditating is to empty your mind of all those things, and so you just let go of the things you're thinking of and you focus on your breathing, right? And
Hmm.
there's something called box breathing you can try, which is inhale for
Oh,
4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. And so like it's this box, right? Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Right? And
I
so
like doing the breathing triangle though.
what's that?
You just have to lose one of them.
Oh,
You figure out which one to get rid of.
well, there is one. So like you can get rid of
I usually get rid of exhale.
one of the holds. And you can totally do
Yeah.
that. And because there's another one that I think Navy
Yeah.
SEALs use to fall asleep out in
Oh
the
yeah.
wilderness or
That's
whatever.
right.
And it's inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and then exhale for 8. Just to
Yes.
make sure
I
you
had a friend
exhale
who
everything, right?
recommended that once. I never tried it, but he was in the military and that's what he was using out in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So it says the biggest challenge for me with being tired is the drive home from work. Drowsy driving is as dangerous as drunk driving or worse. So I do everything I can to ward that off successfully. When I get home, I'm exhausted from using all my focus up. Yep, not
Mhm.
an easy drive, tons of traffic and deer. I understand, the
Here too.
stressful drives like that are tough. And
Hmm.
it's like, man, there have been so many times when I should not have gotten home. But I
Yeah.
did. I made it, right? But I shouldn't have. And it's like, yeah. Box breathing is how you fight off hiccups. All right, cool.
Oh.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Um
Fun.
so but those are some different things you can try, but the point of a lot of these things is not necessarily to get you to breathe a certain way. Now, yes, it helps to have some kind of rhythmic breathing because when you think about it, you're sleeping, you're breathing deeply, you're exhaling fully, right? And I've found that that's really the key is the full exhale. To breathe in deep, that's one thing, but really to exhale fully and empty your lungs, like bring your diaphragm up, and kind of give that extra little push to push that air out of your lungs, right? There's something magical about exhaling fully. I don't
Hmm.
know if it's because it pushes as much carbon dioxide out of our system as possible, make room for more. But also, what it does
Yeah,
is
I
it
think you
kind
are
of
doing that.
it's interesting. What I found it also does is when you're in that state, when you fully exhale, all of a sudden you don't have to think about inhaling. You just automatically do because your body needs it. Your body needs the oxygen. And so you just automatically inhale. And when you can let your body take over and just
Hmm.
monitor it,
Interesting.
that can help with relaxation too. So, I don't know. Last night I was like I could not sleep. I was so tired. I was so tired and I could not sleep. And so I remembered Ryan in the back of my head saying, "Well, just lay there because, you need to rest still, right?" Like
Yeah.
so even if you don't sleep, you need to spend time just laying there. And I did eventually fall asleep. But as I was laying there awake, like I said, I put on the ocean waves, right? And I just took a little trip in my mind. And I went
Hmm.
to the places, Ryan, where you and I filmed the footage for the video Sail On.
Nice. Yes, I remember that. That was a great time.
Yep. And I went to these places because all of them were like beaches, right? All of them were like and awesome
Yeah, there are
beaches.
lots of great
Awesome
places.
beaches.
Beautiful.
Like
Hmm.
Northwest Michigan beaches are absolutely hands down the best beaches.
They're beautiful.
In my opinion, and my opinion is correct. So
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So, anyway, but you can visualize being somewhere. Let yourself go somewhere. And I find that helps so much.
Hmm.
That helps me take my
It's
mind
interesting.
off
Yeah.
of things that are anxiously like hanging on in my brain. They help me take my mind off of like because when you can't sleep and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get up at 6 or I got to get up at 7 or whatever, and then but I can't sleep, and so now I'm not going to get any sleep, and now I'm going to be tired the next day, and then my mind starts racing because it's like, oh my gosh, all these troubles are coming my way
Hmm.
because I can't fall asleep, and I still can't fall asleep, and now I'm making myself more anxious, so it's less likely that I'm going to fall asleep, and it just
Hmm.
spirals, right? And then I get
Sure.
myself all worked up into a tizzy, and I'm like the most non Ryan person you can be because Ryan is like super chill, right?
I feel like they have like some of the best nights of sleep I've ever gotten were like when I only have 2 hours to sleep total. And you
Oh,
go and I lay down, and whether I sleep or not, like just 2 hours,
mm-hmm,
and then get up and like have a full day. For some reason, I feel so awake and energized and like amazing.
mm-hmm.
But by the end of that day, it's like maybe even before the end of the day, I'm just like knocked out.
Yeah, yeah.
Like 7, 8, 9 hours in, I'm just like I am going out.
I can't take it anymore. I'm done.
But those 2 hours made me feel so alive, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
It's interesting.
yep.
Hmm.
I remember you used to take
Yeah.
like 8-minute naps before
Oh yeah.
martial
I remember
arts.
you used to do that.
You
You used to
know,
take a lot of naps.
I'd just like tilt
Mhm.
back, take a 10 minute, maybe 15, sometimes a 20. Whatever. But even just a few minutes of
Mm.
closing my eyes, even if I don't fall asleep, but I'm decompressing and I'm just allowing things. And I don't know. I like to visualize. I like to visualize,
I like that
different
idea. Take
places.
yourself somewhere.
Hmm.
Be at the beach, be at the walk through a forest,
Hmm.
whatever. I think that's really cool.
What places do you feel the most relaxed? What places do you feel the most at peace? What places can you let go of stuff? To me, beaches are it, man. Like I just sit and like the whole world could melt away and all my troubles melt away. I haven't been to a beach. Oh wait, I did go to a beach on Sunday, but it was a crazy beach. We went to Cedar Point and,
I was about to say, well, that's your point. Does
yeah.
that count? I suppose it counts.
Well, we did go to the beach. My kid
Mm.
was like cuz we were
Oh,
riding rides and, like we um it was so hot. It was so ridiculously
mm.
hot. And I was like, I gotta cool off, man. And um, so he's like, well, let's just go. Lake Erie is right there. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll just go to the beach. So we went through the gate. We had passes to get back in, so we could just come
Hmm.
back in. And we just went over there. I'm like, I don't want to get my clothes wet because I have my phone, I have my wallet, I have blah blah blah, and I don't want to
Mm.
leave. So I'll wade in like knee deep, whatever. And I took his phone and his other stuff and put them in my pocket so he could go swim in his shorts, and he got to get all cooled
That's
off and
great.
everything. But yeah, but that beach was not relaxing because there were just too many people
Mm.
everywhere.
That's fair.
It's got to
Yeah,
be a secluded beach. And that's what I like about Northwest Michigan is you can find a beach where you're the only person there. Or there's
that's
another or
true.
maybe a couple other people. But you're far enough
Hmm.
apart you can't hear each other. You can't know what the other person's doing. You just, yeah.
I remember growing up, that was the only beach experience I ever had. And then I'd look at movies and I'd be like, that's so unrealistic. These guys probably have never been to a beach before because beaches are not like that.
Mm.
But I didn't realize that all the beaches, obviously in the movies, were cities,
Mhm.
like New
Right.
York or something,
Yep, just
or
cram
LA.
packed. Yeah.
So those actually do exist, and they are not enjoyable.
No, I don't like beaches that are crowded. Sally,
Mm.
you are right. Lake Erie is a great lake, and it's one of the Great Lakes.
It's one of the Great
One
Lakes.
of the Great Lakes, and it is great. I do like it. It's probably my third favorite Great Lake
Mm,
out of the five. And I've never been to
nice.
Lake Ontario, so I don't know. I don't know about that
Mm.
one. But
Wait, have you ever been to Niagara Falls?
nope,
Really?
really.
Wow,
I've
we
never been
should
to
go
Niagara Falls.
sometime. Niagara Falls is amazing.
That's cool. Um,
Yeah,
we need to go to get to Gorther,
yeah.
Tor
Toward terror. Jeez, pronounce it right, Joe. Toward
Sorry,
terror.
Torter.
We need to go toward terror. Okay, anyways, we need to go together.
You're
We need an
awesome. Yeah, that's
excuse.
right.
That's right.
You don't need me to be your excuse. You just go.
Yeah, we do. Yancey really wants to see it, and it is actually very beautiful.
Think of
It's
the
really
brownies.
incredible. Oh, think of the brownies. Nice.
The
Yeah, sell
Atlantic is
them.
the second greatest lake on earth. It's not a lake, it's an ocean. Like No,
Hold on.
Lake Michigan is the best of the Great Lakes. Lake Superior is second best. My brother
Lake
would say it's the best.
Atlantic. I'm doing a Google search.
Lake Atlantic, yes.
Ah, it's not a real lake. There's no Lake Atlantic. I was
Boo.
hoping that maybe Saleh was onto something. There is none.
I will say though,
Maybe there's.
when we were there this past Sunday on Lake Erie shoreline at Cedar Point, that felt like the water felt like the Gulf of Mexico. It was so warm. I'm
Oh,
used
really?
to I'm used to
That makes
swimming in
sense.
Lake Michigan and Lake Superior where the water is cold, man. So
Yeah, I don't
cold.
like that.
Water is so cold. But it feels good on a
I
really
like
really
the.
hot day, It feels good to
Mm.
cool off, at least to me. I know Ryan like you'd just rather enjoy the hot weather, right?
Yeah, I can turn a little bit of cold on. And it's nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But this felt like bathwater, man.
Mm.
Stepped in Lake Erie. I was like, wow. And the sand is nice and soft, like Lake Michigan sand. It was great.
Nice.
Um, but anyway,
Yeah.
beaches to me just calm me. And so maybe there's a place like that for you, Saddle Lake. Maybe it's the woods. Maybe it's the beach. Maybe it's farm country. Maybe it's whatever. Who knows? But that's something for you to figure out. Like, what is the type of environment that you feel the most at peace in, and go there in your mind. Your mind
Mhm.
is very powerful, as you know. So, but what you need to do, if you're going to do this, is get all your senses involved, right? All five. So, what are you seeing at this place? What are you feeling at this place? What are you hearing? What are you smelling? What are you tasting? All those senses. involve them all, and then it's like you're there. And your subconscious mind treats it as a real memory anyway. So it's like you were there. And yeah. Welcome back, Mianglios. Um oh, you typically go to the beach in the winter. That's fun. I've I like going to beaches in the winter too. It's really cold and windy. But
Mm,
um but it's
terrifying.
beautiful. It's beautiful in its own way, right?
Yeah,
Um
it is.
so, but I don't know. I would do that. Like if you can't sleep, at least put your mind at ease and use that powerful mind of yours to go somewhere. Go to a place that brings you peace. And I don't know, I think that would be beneficial as well. Prayer, obviously beneficial. Meditation, emptying your mind, beneficial. Um Visualizing things, beneficial. Visualize you can visualize things you want to do as well. And you actually train your subconscious mind to align yourself with what it takes to get to those things, right? Because you kind of treat it as a memory that's already happened. Um, so if you can't sleep, you can use the time to do something well rather than like what we usually do and what keeps us awake is ruminating on something,
Yeah,
which
mumbo
is
jumbo.
not necessarily all that productive because usually when I'm ruminating on something, it's not a positive thing, it's some kind of problem.
Fair.
And so it just takes me to all kinds of bad spots. But
Yeah.
anyway, so late. Thank you, Ryan. Did you have anything else?
The only one thing I want to say is, Sally, you're probably not going to remember all of this, or maybe even any of it, by the time you're laying in bed and the next time happens when you're not falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I recommend is if you really do want to take it seriously and try to figure out what to do here, start journaling now,
Mm.
maybe today or tomorrow, and put that journal next to your bed, or even like literally under your pillow, or so that it's something you actually think of when you're in bed. Because I know that a lot of times, thought about all these things I can do in bed. You sit there and you're not falling asleep, and you're like, your brain's just going every direction and you feel like you have no control and
Mm.
you're not even thinking like clear thoughts
Mm-hmm.
um, enough to actually do anything productive.
Right.
And so at those times it's like nice to have something to remember. Oh yeah, I was going to try this today. When this like cool, okay, I'm gonna pull up my journal, look at your journal. Okay, it says do this. Okay, and then try it.
Mm.
Like um I think that would be really effective because I know so many times I get into bed and I can't fall asleep, I'm not really thinking clearly about anything at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just laying there and my brain is going nowhere.
You're like
And
spinning your wheels, you're just like
yeah, yeah, for like hours and hours and hours. And I just watch time pass by while I'm like delirious, it feels like. But, anyways, um, so if you're anything like that, um, and you don't have a like perfectly clear mind to think about, like, okay, what should I do at this moment? Keep a journal next to you so that you remember that you have the option to do something,
Mm.
and you have a journal to look at of different things you want to try.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would probably be really helpful if you experience what I'm talking about. But if you don't, and you just lay down, and you have a perfectly clear mind the whole night, then yeah, great, you don't need one. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
Cool. Well, Saole, thank you so much for the topic. And guys, thank you for joining us here on Don't Worry Wednesday. We're like 20 minutes over the time we usually talk.
Yeah, how dare you guys?
I know, man, but hey, it was worth it. I love
Yeah.
this time. I love this time with Ryan. I love this time with you guys, and I've missed it for the past few weeks, and I'm gonna miss it next week because I'm gonna be with my kids. But I will be back the following week on Don't Worry Wednesday, and yeah, Zay, it was all your
I
fault, Zay. Zay made us go
say
over.
Thank you, Zay. Thank you for making us do that, Zay. You're lovely.
I mean, Zay,
I
yes,
think
you're the best.
I will also not be here next Wednesday.
Oh, really? Oh, are you traveling?
That's right. I'm traveling.
Oh,
I'll be
so it looks
traveling
like
to
no Don't
America.
Worry Wednesday next week.
Yansai, I don't know if you're in. You're probably with us still. If you know if that's when we're traveling, then cool. I might I might be available though. No, I don't think it will be because we're traveling on a Wednesday in Japan. But by the time we land in America, it'll be Wednesday. I might be available. I don't think so. We'll find out.
All right.
But anyways, likely no. Don't worry, Wednesday next week.
All right. Cool. But we'll be back in a couple weeks anyway.
Mm,
So join us.
to be sure.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
That's right.
So you guys are awesome. We love you. We love hanging out with you. And oh, you were here.
Yeah,
You were
that's a great
checking.
idea, Sally. Oh, you were checking. Yeah,
Um,
so that's a great idea. Joe Bohan, Jeff, and Broman can do Don't Worry Wednesday for us instead.
well, but they don't have the.
Good luck. Good luck to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Any
Oh,
of the
Nyansai says.
OBS.
Nyansai says she thinks she can do Don't Worry Wednesday next week.
Okay,
All right.
cool. Well, if I can, I will.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Yep. I will not be here, and I will miss you guys, and I love you. And until next time, take great care of yourselves and great care. Oh yeah, yeah, perfect, Zay. Run
Zay.
your run the Worry Wednesday.
Yeah.
um, perfect. But yeah, until next time, take great care of yourselves and the people around you. And we love you guys. And we'll see you next time on Don't Worry Wednesday. Bye bye, guys.
Bye now. Peace.